let's see. Absolutely PMA player. Nothing you can do will tilt me as long as you're on my team. New to the CDL scene, but not new to the faces.
Oh, you're calling it a scene. Okay. I like that.
Dude, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just having a blast already, dude.
We haven't even gotten into game one yet. I mean, have you been scrimming at all?
Not yet. I am scrimming Alex tonight, I think. But other than that, we're just chilling. We've been playing a few games with each other, getting a feel for each other, making sure that everything's okay, comms are good, and hero pools are available. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're just chilling.
Is that so? I know you're probably one of the more experienced players in CDL. I think because I
Sure.
mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you played RD2L season 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and a couple of minis. So
Yeah, so I played 15 through 18, and season 14 I didn't play RD2L back then. That was Seal, which was basically
mm,
the PST Sunday division of RD2L before they joined RD2L. So it was the Sunday evening amateur league. That was like the first big league that I joined. I joined with my buddy Satan, aka Chandler. Um, and because I asked him looking for a league because I wanted to start getting serious. Around that time, I was like Legend 2, and um, I joined the league, and evidently we actually got second place um, with Truck Waffle, Michael J. Jackson, 659, Satan, myself, Nat Nap, um, and I believe that was it. But I had an absolute blast with that team, and that kind of like fueled me for more good times in the league, and being under the influence of Truck Waffle, especially for my first season, like it taught me how invaluable being a PMA slash leadership role on a team is like huge. So that's I kind of give my props to Truck to influencing me to be like super PMA. So after that, I joined RD2L. I decided to captain once or twice, and we had pretty successful seasons. Most of them I didn't really know many of the players, so I got to know them over the time, and I had a blast. And after that, I switched to EST Monday this season. Got picked up by Zelfer and became a captain last minute for CDL season 3. So it's basically catching up with Big Fella.
so you had never captained before in RD2L, right?
I started well. I started captaining in RD2L season 15 with Bill Cosby and the Big Fellas. I picked up who was it that season? Panda. Um, who else was it actually? I think it was Panda Satan. Oh, Goob, who's a popular PST Sunday memer. Stevie Ruggles, also known as Luke, very good mid player. And I think I picked somebody else, but I can't remember their names right now. But overall, that team was really fun. I was really nervous captaining at first, but my team actually helped me out a lot by letting me. Um, they basically trained me to be a better captain and drafter. We had a mock draft text channel where my teammate would go off of the enemy team's Dota buffs we'd be playing that week, and we would just do mock drafts and compare the drafts afterwards, and just got me to have better knowledge of drafting and picks and such. So it was a really humbling experience. After that, I think I switched back to player, but then I wanted to captain again one final time. That's when I got to, I believe, round of 32 last season, before getting knocked out by Empyrean. So I only captained, maybe two, maybe three times, I think. Yeah, I think only two.
So is mock drafting something you're going to be doing this season as well?
I don't think so, just because I think I've gained that knowledge of drafting already. I can just look at their Dota buffs and just get a general idea of what I can ban and what I should pick against them. As I increased MMR over the years, like I said, when I first joined these amateur leagues, I was sitting at like Legend 2, so that was about I think just hitting 3K MMR. But I peaked last season, I believe, like 4.3 solo and 4.6K party. So I gained a lot of MMR in that time. So I still have that game knowledge, um, but I can just apply it now. So instead of having to mock draft, I can just check their Dota buffs and be like, okay, well, I can pick this against them. This is strong, stuff like that.
And in those previous seasons, was there like a position you played every single season, or have you kind of switched around quite a bit?
Well, I'd like to say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, and that's basically describes my entire Dota career. I started out as position 5 just because I was the lowest MMR, and I only played Ogre, Magi, and Shaman the entire season. I managed to pick 2 heroes, so I was pretty excited when I captained because I really wanted to be position 4. And when I started playing position 4, I found my love for Elder Titan, and that became first band every time we played anyone in the season after a few games, which was exciting. And then I got picked up for a mini team that I really wanted to be on, and they needed me to be position 3. So I didn't really know how to play position 3, so I would often ask a lot of people who were off lane mains at the time, just be like, all right, what heroes can I play? How do I play this role? So I would often ask the people that have already, um, at that time they were like Ancient 5 and maybe like some Divine players, just asking them how I can improve my off lane experience. And so I got that knowledge and started applying it in my games, and that's really when I started to take off in MMR as a off lane player. Um, After that, I was an off lane player for the next RD2L season, and unfortunately, I really only knew how to play Axe at the time, so they just banned Axe, and I didn't really do that well during the RD2L season. Um, but then I switched to mid the next mini, and we wound up winning that Division 4 mini with Nutty Pizza's team. I think it was me, Nutty, Murtank, Lev, and Flint's friend. I forget his name, but we won. That was pretty fun. My key hero or my signature hero that season was definitely Invoker. I had a few other signature heroes I think that season, but I think Invoker really took it. And then I was going to want to carry. So this season in RD2L EST Monday, I actually approached Zelfer to see if I could carry or 3. So we might flex that during the season to play 1 and 3. And I'll be playing mid this season for CDL. So basically, I'm just all around the board, pause 1 through 5, like just a true flex player.
So, knowing that, going into this season, is there a position that you're like, I'm dead set on playing?
Well, I think I kind of have to be dead set on mid, right? So, being that I first picked Neff, um, that kind of puts me in a good position because being a decently high MMR compared to the other guys in the league, um, that's already playing a core role and is a captain, you can kind of afford to pick a high MMR support, and especially if you pick mid, because a lot of people just usually like to pick their mids or carries first. And I knew that I could probably get away with getting a decent carry, which I did wind up getting in the end. But the Neff pick was actually kind of unexpected, just because I was trying to bid Badger up, and then Badger was just like, "Yeah, okay, I'm done." And I was like, "Oh crap," because I had this whole plan going in, and then I got Neff for like 350, and I was like, "Oh, all right, like that's still value." He's like, I think he was like second or third in the roster, so I was like, "That's totally fine by me." High MMR, pause
Mm-hmm.
for, can coach from the back lines and all that stuff. So, and then Neff DM'd me saying Fudge plays off lane. So I said, all right, because I didn't really know too many people on the roster. So I decided to go with Neff and pick Fudge. And then
Well,
who
we'll
did I
we'll
pick?
get into your other picks later,
Okay,
because
okay, all right. But
I have the list, but
gotcha. All right. So for your initial question, yes, based on my roster that I've chosen, I'm more or less locked in on the mid lane.
okay. So you're gonna be playing mid, okay? And so your mid laner, you only had an hour to prepare for this draft. When you were preparing, were you thinking I'm gonna play mid this season?
No, not at all. I was actually thinking I was gonna carry because since I had an opportunity to play carry in RD2L, and that draft was prior. I was like, oh, I could just practice like carry, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then, kind of when the draft started to unfold, I told myself, okay, maybe I need a three. I'll pick a mid and a carry. And then, Neff approached me saying, oh, Fudge plays off lane. So I was like, okay, so then maybe I can mid and then get away with a carry. Because there weren't any, particularly high MMR mids in the pool. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just pick up a decent carry and then, I'll be set. And so that's kind of how it went.
So you think you gained a huge advantage from just going into it being like, I can play mid, I can play core, I can play off lane.
Yeah, I think that's a huge advantage, honestly, being a flex player, just because, sometimes people have this like concrete set. Like, I hate to use my boy Lone Wolf as an example, but you had like you put all your eggs in one basket. Like bet like I think it was like 650 he bet on Nira, but then he couldn't really afford anyone else, and got some decent players out of it. But I think my team is like more well rounded because I have
Mm-hmm.
like two 5K players, a high 4K mid, and decently MMR or a 4K carry with a 3K pos 5. I think that works out really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
You made my job really easy, by the way. Just with all the content you already create, it's super easy to
oh,
just read that, get
fantastic!
awesome insight into your team. So I'm actually
Glad to
interested to
hear.
see when you came up with the dream team that you wanted to draft. Was that just in the hour prior going into the draft, or like here's the guys that I really want to get?
Yeah, so my dream team initially, I was just like, man, I want to play with all my friends. And then I saw that like Alex Badger, like a few of them were captains. So I was like, all right, well, I'll scratch off Alex, I'm gonna have to pick somebody else. And I was like, all right, well, dream team would be like Nira, Zelfer, myself, Murtank, and I forget who else I said. Um,
Inactivist.
Inactivist, right? Because Murtank approached me about Inactivist. So it's like, okay, that doesn't sound too bad of a team. I think that really sounds well. Um, so obviously I kind of said like, all right, this is what I want. Obviously, I'm not going to get this. Where can I go from here? And so I kind of like took that dream team and be like, well, I'd have to bet a lot of money for this person, and then I had to bet a lot of money for this person. So like maybe I'll try swapping out these two. So like maybe I couldn't get Nira because everyone wanted Nira. So maybe I'll try to get like a mid to high 4K carry, and so I wound up with half, and then I kind of swat like when I first got Neff, I was like, okay, a lot of my plans changed, but that's fine. Like, maybe I'll put Murtank 5, unfortunately, but like, we'll work it out. So it kind of like my draft was really fluid. I started out with what I wanted and kind of worked my way down with like what I could get away with. So I think especially like for Neff, being able to get a top 5 player for like 350, I think that was a huge score.
Mm. And we can jump into your first pick now too. So,
Sure.
had your dream team going in the draft. First pick Neff for 355. I mean, less than 400 for Nephilim is kind of insane for basically 6K MMR.
Mhm.
How do you think you got him so cheap?
So I think everyone, I think what really came down to is everyone wanted Nira, and so I was trying to bid up everybody else. Um, but everyone was kind of ignoring Neff because I was assuming like a lot of the, real sad doggo, lone wolf, like they were kind of like lower MMR players, and so I would assume that they would be support. So they wanted a strong core that could like carry them to the game to win. So that I don't think they really saw Neff as like value for them. Um, and so I saw Badger bid like 350, and I was like, well, let me mess with him because like you can't get away with like a super high MMR support for like 350. So I just bet him up 355, and then everyone was like, all right, I'm out. So I was like, really? Nobody wants to bid on like a super high MMR four player, dude? I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll totally gladly take it off your hands.
Yeah, and you said in your write up too, you didn't really care what position you got him for, and
Hmm.
4 ended up being a real value position there. And I'm assuming that's the role he's going to play for most of the season as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 4, and I believe offlane player in Fudge. So
Mm-hmm.
your offlane is like average of 5.5k, I think, something like that.
Yep. Pretty ridiculous. I agree.
Um,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got Fudge for that much value. I don't think I really like. I don't know if anyone knew of Fudge or like. I don't know, but Neff just told me to pick her, so I was like, all right, I believe in my team, so wound up picking her for good value.
so it was friend of Neff's. Do you have insight into that? Why Neff really wanted to pick Fudge?
Well, honestly, I can pull up the DM. Literally, the only thing that it was, he just messaged me, um, do 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 do, Fudge 3. That's it.
So
That's it.
and you just interpreted that as, oh, I should pick Fudge.
Yeah. Because he said, yeah, because he asked me if I played mid, and I was like, I can, and I think that's probably like after I picked Neff, I was like, doing all this chess in my head, and I was probably like thinking like, okay, well, if I mid, I could probably get everybody else for like cheaper value, but like still good value. And so I told him I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna mid. Um, and then he just said Fudge 3, so I said okay.
Couple of good heroes there too. It'd be kind of weird to pick some of them, but I think Fudge plays like Ricky, BH, Venno is probably the only normal one
hmm So far,
so
gonna
far.
gonna be gonna be a few reveals, but yeah,
If you,
so
yeah,
far.
I won't make you go into like if you've scrimmed already exactly what you're trying to figure out heroes you
hmm
want to play. But Fudge is another person that has played RD2L quite a bit. Do you think that's going to kind of help in terms of experience there?
I think in general, I think our team chemistry is getting together really well. Neff and Fudge, I think, we're already like good friends. So having those two, and especially in the off lane as well, like I think that's going to be really good. They're going to have good team chemistry as far as like laning. They're used to playing with each other, so it's not anything new. It's just like another game for them. So I think that experience is going to be really huge, and especially because they'll probably have a huge MMR advantage over whoever they're playing against. So I think that'll be really useful for me and my team.
Oh yeah, your off lane is gonna dominate, and that can honestly just win you a couple of games right there if your off lane is just
hmm
stomping so hard.
hmm
So we'll go to your third pick in half. And I
Yep.
have a decent amount of experience with half playing with him. I think 2-3 years ago in RD2L played off
Okay.
lane for us. So it was a little weird seeing him in a core role, but I think he's got a couple of decent heroes that can pull it off. So I think you were exclusively just looking for a one here or a one player at this point.
Yep.
And anybody mention half to you, or was he just the one that came up?
So I actually, what I did was I sorted the sheet to like whoever put pause one as like a 5, like super comfortable, and I would just kind of look through there and then look for 4s and stuff. And I'm pretty sure half had 5 on there, and he was like, I think he was like 4.6k or maybe a little lower. I can't remember exactly, but I was like, I'm alright with this guy being my carry. Like, I'm okay with that. And I looked at his Dota buff, and he was actually, I think somebody nominated him. I think. And before I even like checked the guy, or like he was just in line before I checked him, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking at his Dota buff," and I was like, "Oh, that's a probably a good idea to check." He's one of the dudes I was like looking at. So I checked his Dota buff, saw that it was like a lot of activity, so something that I needed, a consistent carry. So I thought I was like, dude, yeah, this looks like my guy, and so I started bidding on him, and I got him for a good value. So.
Yeah, and anytime you can get your carry for only 180, it's pretty good.
hmm
Not the highest MMR, and that's not a knock against half, just compared to some other cores.
Yeah,
Not the
no,
best, but I
absolutely.
mean, if your off lane's destroying, what matters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll finally get to your last pick, the only person that you actually picked that was on your dream team,
Yeah,
an activist.
yeah. So basically before the draft, Mertank and I were talking to each other, and I told him I had to captain, and so he was saying like, hey, listen, man, like by the way, if you want, you can get me and my buddy an activist for cheap because an activist doesn't really play like a 2K MMR guy. Like I think he's definitely been showing potential and improvement, which is what I love and value in teammates. Is anyone that's really willing to learn, because that's really how I was brought up. I just asked a bunch of questions, did what my higher MMR cores told me to do, and so I started developing that knowledge. So I love people who are willing to learn and listen, and listen to
Hmm.
suggestions and stuff. So I knew an activist I wanted on my team just because I think, especially being 2K is really still open to suggestions and on how to play the game and all that stuff. So I think that was really good to pick him up, and I was excited to get him.
And through scrims and stuff so far, is that what you're sort of finding?
Yeah, so right now a lot of us have already played with each other. The only exception has been an activist, only because he had just moved into school, so a little bit of like a Wi-Fi problem. But he said tonight, which will be the first night we scrim, he just said, this will be the first night like all five of us are able to play with each other. So that'll be technically the real test, but I got a really good feeling that we'll work together pretty well.
Hmm. And so your week 0 predictions, which is the other content you made this week,
Hmm.
all about PMA team. Your team is just gonna PMA all over the series and outplay Bird because he'll just call GG after the banning phase.
Yeah.
Good advantage to have. Do you think there's like gonna be one person on the team that's gonna sort of lead communication, shot call?
So from what I gathered, when we played, I think Neff is a really great shot caller. Half is really good at giving information out. So I think Neff will probably be the shot caller of the group. Neff and I will contribute to the drafting mostly. So it'll mostly just be me and Neff talking to each other. But obviously the team is open to suggest stuff. I like to value their opinion. A lot of people will know that. Like when I play Battle Cup, and if I have to captain or anything, like I'll always be like, "All right, position 5. Not what do you need to play, or like what heroes are good. What do you want to play?" And then so it kind of like lifts a little burden off their shoulders, because since I played 5 like that before, like I completely understand where they're coming from. Like they just want to have fun, but like if you put them on a stupid hero, they don't want to play like Bane and have like an 80-minute game. Like it's just not fun for everybody. So
Mhm.
I like to make sure that they're comfortable with what I want to pick them, and they're gonna have fun either way.
And going into this season, just overall ratings from everybody, your team is the highest average rating of 2.875. Do you
Great
think
to hear.
you're one of the best teams in the league right now?
Honestly, I am a bit surprised, but yes, I think so. Just because like my off lane duo is going to be really really good, and we have an overall like just definitely strong team. Like we have a lot of knowledge about the game, so it's not just like one guy shouting orders to everybody and then like everyone's just kind of confused, but they go ahead and listen to the guy. It's more of a collaborative team effort, and we all know what our purpose is every game, and we'll be able to execute most of what we need to. So yeah, I think it's right to claim that I have the strongest team, I think.
If you had to pick right now, what do you think your record is going to be heading into the first week of playoffs?
How many weeks do we have before playoffs? Was it like
I believe it is. Oh gosh, how much did we play last season?
8?
8?
Because he was like 0 and
I
8.
think
Yeah.
8.
Hmm, probably gonna say maybe 14-2. I think there might be like 1 or 2 games where we throw, but I'm feeling a strong 14-2.
14-2. Okay, I see it. That definitely secures you playoffs.
Hmm.
Not quite undefeated though. Is that
Right, right.
two sweep, or is that one sweep against you, or is that two 1-1s?
No, I think that'll be 2-1-1s. I think we'll get a little too cocky and then get punished by, let's say, oh, whose team is Zelfer? I forget. I think Joker's Fist, maybe. I can't remember. But one of the yeah, whoever's team is Zelfer, like I might just like accidentally outdraft myself or like get too cocky and draft something like terrible and let his drow go through or something. Then I'll be like, uh oh, and then we'll go 1-1, and we're just like, all
Mm,
right, guys, let's move on. So
chalking it up to a misdraft in game 1 and then fixing it game 2.
yeah, that could be a possibility. Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing I like to do. We're at a good time, I think. 25 minutes for the first part. We'll do like 5 minutes for the Dota Buff quiz at the very end.
Oh,
If you don't
nice.
know what this is, I'm just going to ask you questions that I just pulled off your Dota Buff minutes ago.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
at this point, like, I don't know, 25 minutes ago.
Hmm.
So, the points don't matter. Nobody actually cares. You don't have to be right or anything. It's just, do you know yourself? It's kind of a introspective sort of thing. It's more for you than
Sure.
it is for me. So,
Sure.
are you ready?
Yeah, dude. Let's get this started.
All right, let me number these here just so I remember. Question 1. What is the most played hero in esports matches for you? Your most
For
played.
me, oh. See, I think because of Seal alone, I'm gonna have to say Shadow Shaman.
Correct. Number 1,
Nice.
Shadow Shaman with 16 matches of 56% win rate.
Let's go.
Kind of insane. I am happy to see that Elder Titan is up there too. That's probably one of my more favorite heroes that I like playing in RD2L.
Absolutely,
So
me
respect
too.
to that one. Question number 2. We'll stay on the esports side of things. What is your all-time win rate in esports matches?
Ooh, that's a great question. All-time esports matches. I want to say, I feel like it might be like high 50s. So I'm gonna say like 57.
Ooh, just 1.8, 1.7% higher. It's 55, but very
Okay, okay.
close. But to get the point back, even though I'm not keeping track of points, how many total matches have you played in esports?
Jeez. This would be like 55. 55.3. I don't know. I'll say like 82.
Ooh, that okay, that's way off. You're at 188. And that
What?
includes
Dude, I
everything.
played that many leagues.
You got quite a bit. If you go look at the amount of leagues
Jeez.
you played, it's pretty insane.
That's crazy, dude. That's actually awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's so neat.
very high experience there.
That's awesome, dude.
All right. Question numero 3 is so we just said win rate esports was 55%. Is that higher or lower than your pub win rate? And what is your pub win rate?
Ooh. I feel like my pub win rate's higher. Like there are sprees where I go on like 13 game win streaks. I feel like if my esports is like 55, I feel like my normal would be like 56 or 57.
Wrong direction there. It is
Wrong
actually
direction?
your pub win rate is lower by about 1%. It's 54.
Okay, okay. Still positive though, so that's good. But
Yeah, it's still positive 50, so you still gain MMR most of the time.
Yep.
All right, question number 4. This is a throwback too. I like asking these throwback questions. What is
Sure.
the longest match you have played ever?
Ooh, I know it's at least 90 minutes. I think it was a Void game that was like 93
Is
minutes.
90 minutes. It's 92 minutes total.
92.
It's not a void
Okay.
game though.
Okay. So maybe it was that Pudge game that was like forever.
Oh, you
Like
are playing Pudge. Do you know what year it took place?
I feel like it was like 2 years ago. It's like 2017?
It was 2014.
2014? Jeez.
5 years ago.
Phew.
And I can even link it to you just to prove that I'm not bullshitting you.
No, man, I trust
But
you. You just pulled it off the sheets.
2014.
2014.
This is a
That's
classic
crazy.
game. You got some poor man shields in there. You got some techies, classic broken
yeah, dude.
techies. Obviously, if it's that long, there's gonna be a techies. But
Nice lot.
you don't have a single core on your team. It's just what a great game, honestly.
Yeah.
You have
Did I go
a.
mid?
It looks
I
like
don't
you're
even know. That
building
thing's-
either a Radiance on Pudge, and you have 2 Radiances on your team
I
already.
think I think I was building Rapier at that point because I was like, I'm so fed up with like not being able to siege the high ground. I
What a-
think that's probably what went down in my head.
Oh God, your Timber has 3 hearts for some. Oh Jesus, this
He's a
is
tanky
what a
boy,
game. Yeah, it's
dude.
basically unkillable,
That's awesome.
other than 11 deaths, obviously. But all right, last question.
All right.
What was your KDA in the game that you played just before this interview?
Oh, it wasn't good, dude. We did not have a strong team up against the Storm and Lifestealer, but I believe I was like 5'9" and like 7.
Ooh, very close. Assists are hard to guess, but 5'10".
5'10". Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's 5'10" and 12. But
Gotcha.
it's still pretty close. Very good.
All right.
I think overall that was a good performance.
Thank you,
So
sir.
that was the Dota Buff quiz. Big fella, is there anything else you want to say to end this off? Any like remarks about the season in general?
I'm looking forward to having an awesome time with my team. I'm looking forward to destroying Alex Badger, Target, Murtank, and all my other buddies in CDL. And good luck, have fun this season.
Very admirable goal. All right, I'll take it. Have fun. Well, I technically I'm not playing, but you can have fun.
Will do, will do. I'll do it just for you, man.